Hello, my name is Dr. Alison Brown, and this is part 2 of our Biden-Harris prophecy. And in our previous video, we had a look at the surname of Biden, which I'm just going to briefly recap there. We had his name Biden in the Hebrew language, and we saw from the previous video that we could discern from the Gammatria, looking at the Hebrew Numerology and Hebrew Gammatria, we could discern he was in fact going to be elected in 2020. And there was a lot more to this name. So do get to the previous video if you haven't already watched it, so that you can see the prophetic interpretation of Joseph Robinette Biden's name. Today we're going to have a look at Kamala Devi Harris. I'm not too sure whether I've pronounced the middle name correctly, but she has three names: Kamala Devi Harris. And so we're going to have a look at her name today, and we will see from the Hebrew if we can discern anything at all from her name prophetically using Hebrew Gammatria and Hebrew Numerology. So her first two names, Kamala and Devi, she was named after two Hindu goddesses. Now, Kamala is the goddess of prosperity, and you might think, oh, well, that sounds pretty good. Yes. Devi is the goddess who can either create or destroy. Well, the creation bit is quite nice, but the destructive bit, not so good. Devi also stands for women's empowerment. So we're looking at a goddess of feminism here. Women's empowerment. And her Gammatria, the Gammatria of her whole name, comes to the number 477. Now that does have quite a bit of significance. So I'm going to pause on doing the individual letters of her name and just have a look at her Gammatria, which is the total Gammatria of her name, Kamala Devi Harris. And we find out in the Hebrew 477, these numbers actually mean man has no power in heaven. Man has no power in heaven. So that's interesting. And this particular Gammatria, this particular number, is associated with Job chapter 41. And what does Job chapter 41 talk about? Job chapter 41 talks about the Leviathan, or the dragon. The dragon is king over all the children of pride. So, Gammatria 477, the dragon is king over all the children of pride. So that's not children that have given their lives to Jesus, who have humbled themselves and given their lives to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, but the children of pride are not those that are born again. It's not referring to people that are born again, but those who are proudful and set themselves up against God. Okay, now back in 2019, when I was in Kenya ministering at a leaders conference there, the Lord gave me these words quite clearly, quite loud and quite clearly. The Lord spoke to me these words: beware the dragon from the east. And I shared it with the leadership out there in East Africa when I was out there. And I thought it was to do with, I had a witness in my spirit, it was to do with the economy, not so much to do with health. But of course, the two are linked, because with this coronavirus, which is a virus from the pit of hell, seeks to crown itself and seeks to have domination over the nations of the world. And we're in the year 5781. We entered into the that is the Hebrew calendar year 5781, 5781, and we're in the decade of the 80s. And interestingly enough, the number 80 is associated with the letter Pe. The letter Pe has the numerical value of 80, and that means mouth. And what has the enemy been doing? Covering up our mouths. and also destroying many, many businesses and jobs, etc., which is leading to an economic crisis, a worldwide recession, a serious economic crisis. So when the Lord spoke to me about beware the dragon from the east, it wasn't just referring to health, but it was also referring to an economic crisis, which is very interesting because that ties in with this goddess Devi, because she's the goddess with Kamala, because she's the goddess of prosperity. But Devi has the power to take away that prosperity, to destroy that prosperity. So that is very, very interesting. Okay, now the Gammatria 477 actually spells a word in Hebrew. It is the letters Taf 400, which is the letter of the cross or the covenant. And then we have Ayin, which is the second number there, which is 70. The numerical value there is 70 for Ayin. And that is a picture of the eye. And then finally we have Zayin. The seventh letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Zayin, and that is a picture of a sword with the ability to cut or to pierce or to kill. Okay, and it spells out the word dare. So with this name Devi, we have a goddess who dares to set herself up against Almighty God. Not too great, is it? It's not working out very, very good here. But, don't shoot the messenger. I am just simply giving you an interpretation of the Hebrew Gammatria and Numerology as is revealed in her name, plus the fact that she's been named after two Hindu goddesses, Kamala and Devi. Okay, let's have a look in detail now at Kamala. And so we'll go back to my screen here, and let me just scroll down. So there we have her name in the Hebrew. And first of all, we have Kof. And Kof is always looking back. It's always looking backwards. So she's looking backwards to the previous administration, and we've seen that with all the way that this particular administration has been getting rid of all of the previous administration's bills, legislation, etc. So it's the picture of a hand, but it's looking at the back of it's looking behind, it's looking to the last, it's talking about the back of the hand or the back of the head, and it also speaks of fear and folly. Okay, it's related to Psalm 118:16, 118 verse 16, and it speaks about the right hand of the Lord is exalted. Oh, that's good. Yes, the right hand of the Lord does valiantly. So she's there for a reason. What reason could that be? Maybe for God to reveal his glory, to reveal his work. Okay, and then the next letter we have here is Mem. Now that's a very interesting Hebrew letter. Now Mem is in the shape of a womb and speaks of birthing something, but it also speaks of labor pains, labor pangs. It speaks of the wilderness experience because its number is 40. So you think of that as a testing time, trials, tribulations, the wilderness experience before something can be birthed, before new life can come forth. Jesus was tempted and tested of the devil for 40 days and 40 nights. The children of Israel were 40 years in the desert, in the wilderness, before they came out of that. And it also speaks of chaos. It brings chaos too. It can bring chaos. Okay, now the next letter is very interesting. That is Lamed. And you'll see it is the highest letter in the Hebrew alphabet, because you can see it's going above the other letters. Now Lamed speaks of the staff or the scepter. It is the letter of authority, So this lady does have authority, does have some authority. She has the staff of authority. Okay, and then finally we have Hey. Hey. Now, Hey is a very interesting letter because it speaks of behold, or to reveal, or to show. It can also speak about the breath of God, you know, the Spirit of God. So what is the Spirit of God showing, or the Spirit of God revealing? That's interesting, because that leads us very nicely onto the next part of her name, and I'll just bring that one up now. So with that one, we have Devi, Dalet, Vav, Vav, and Yod. Dalet. Okay. So what does that speak of? Dalet. That speaks of a door. So we have behold, or revealing, or showing. We're beholding now a door, if we lead on to her next name. Now, what does that tell us about a door? So it's a doorway into or out of something. So what are we going into or out of? Well, we next have a double Vav. Now, Vav means to join or to bind. It's actually the letter that's symbolized by a nail, and it speaks of joining or binding something together. Okay, so it's joining or binding, but binding what? Joining or binding what? Well, finally, we have Yod again, which is a work of God, which speaks of a work of God. Its number is 10, and it's God's number of perfect multiplication. So what are we multiplying here? So we're multiplying the Vavs. We've got two Vavs there. So Vav, which is the number 6, times 10. 10 times 6 is 60. And then we have another times. Yes, because we've got a double Vav there. So we have another time. So we've got 6 times 10. And then that equals 60, which is the letter Samek. Okay, and Samek speaks of a twisting or a turning away from something. And then we have 10 times 60, yes, because we've got the double Vav there, which equals 600. What does that tell us? Well, 600 is 2 shins. 300 plus 300. The number of the letter shin is 300 in Hebrew numerology. So we have a double shin. What does that mean? Well, shin is means to consume or to destroy, but by the hand or work of God. So it talks about consuming or destroying by fire. Okay, gosh, interesting. So we have a goddess, in fact 2 goddesses. Yes. And the second one can create or destroy the prosperity of the first. But we seem to be, it seems to, the Gammatria here seems to imply, and the numerology here seems to imply, a destruction of prosperity. A destruction of prosperity. Okay, let's go on to the final name, which is Harris. Harris. So we have Hey, and we have Aleph, we have Rish, we have Yod again, the multiplication factor of God, number 10, and we have Samek at the end, and we've just been talking about Samek a little bit. Okay, so we have Hey, again, to behold. Who are we to behold? Aleph. Aleph stands for the ox, strength, or God. Okay, then we have Rish, which is chief or leader. Yes, she's been placed in leadership. She has the authority with the Lamed. And then we have Yod, Yod, work of God. And then we finally have a Samek, the work of God. Samek, turning away or turning aside. So a work of God that will turn away or turn aside something. So with the Yod, we have something interesting here. We have, with the Yod, we have Rish, which is the number 200. Rish is the number 200. Times the Yod, we have the total years of the church age. So her name is very, very prophetic here, because this is speaking of the 2,000 years of the church age, which is coming to an end. Whether you like it or not, we are in the last hour, shall we say, of the church age. So we have the 2,000 years of the church age contained within her surname. Okay, but we've also got Samech again, a twisting or turning aside, and we have the Yod, the number 10 there, the number 10 multiplied by the Samech, 60. Samech is the number 60, so 10 times 60 is 600. And again we have the double shin, to consume or to destroy by fire. Whoa, so double shin. We've got two lots of double shins here. Is the Lord trying to tell us something here? Well, I believe, because we have the Yod, which is the hand of God, that her government or her administration will be destroyed by the hand of God coming into play. God's covenant people will see what she is, and that she will, as we have the sword there, be cut off. Okay. Something interesting to note, when I was watching the inauguration, Kamala Harris, when she was sworn into the administration, she made sure that her hand, her right hand, which the right hand stands for authority, she made sure that her right hand was on her portfolio, a slim black portfolio. So she actually swore on her portfolio and not on the Bible, not on the Word of God. So I'm just going to leave that with you. So we're going to have one more video after this, looking into the Biden-Harris prophecy. So make sure you get number 3, because in number 3 I'm going to look at the conjoining of these two surnames, Biden and Harris, because it's called the Biden-Harris administration, and there's even more deeper revelation that can be revealed, that we can discern from the Hebrew Gammatria and Numerology in looking at the Biden-Harris conjunction of both of those names, because it's called the Biden-Harris administration, and I've called the videos the Biden-Harris prophecy. Now that's all we have time for today, and do email me on riveroflifeuk@hotmail.com. That's riveroflifeuk@hotmail.com, and get your free copy of my latest book called God's Blueprint. Okay, I'll put the details in the description underneath this video, so you can get that. You're also welcome to donate if you want to. There's no obligation, of course, but if you want to donate to this part of the Lord's ministry, you can. You can also go to, you can PayPal us at that email address, and you can also go to our website, which is riveroflifeministriesinternational.org, and you could make a donation there if you want to, and you can also find out a little bit more about the ministry and about the work we do in Africa, India, and more recently in Greece. So I invite you to be able to do that. This recording is from Wales. Okay, I'm not an American citizen, so I don't have any ulterior motive, as it were. I just want to look and see what God is saying prophetically in these last days, because this channel is called Prophetic Insights. You might also be interested in my book that I released some time ago, much of the prophecies within which have been now fulfilled, but some not yet. And that book is called The END Prophetic Insights into the Last Days by Dr. A.J. Brown, and that's me. Okay, that's all for now. God bless. Shalom. God bless. Bye-bye.